Take me back to when, Cameron, when you first decided to franchise. I'd love to know, kind of be a fly on the wall, how that conversation went with you and your husband. So whose idea was it, you or Greg, that said, I think we need to franchise this? And was there like a defining moment?
That was me. He wasn't as on board at the beginning, to be quite honest.
Okay, why? Why was that?
We love our business. We love Back Home Safely, which is our New Jersey local business, and we've
Mm-hmm.
owned it. It's been a beautiful thing. We've figured it out and it works. Of course, we have some days where there's challenge.
Sure.
I think one of our trucks, oil fell out of the truck this morning. So that was,
Oh, gosh.
but we figured it out and he's really happy with how things are going. And it's just ingrained in me. Like, I'm never happy. I need to be bigger.
Grow.
Yeah, grow and build. And I saw some other franchises in this space. I'm like, wow, we figured it out here. We're helping all these people in New Jersey to remain living in the homes. And a lot of patients don't understand there's companies like us out there until they're actually in that situation. And they're so happy and thankful that there's actually accessibility companies out there to help them, because they're in the hospital after a stroke and they're like, how am I going to get in my house? I have stairs. So I was thinking, we're doing it so well here in New Jersey. Why don't we franchise? And so I started. In those days, I had a book. I think it was like this high, about licensing and franchising. And I just started learning about it, networking, learning from other people, and decided that we need to be in this space. This concept we have to be on the franchise platform. And we created GreedLight Mobility. We wanted to rebrand. With a green light, you can go from point A to point B. You could go in and out of your house. You could go up and down your stairs. And
I love the name. It's a great name.
Thank you. So we wanted to rebrand for the franchise, and it's been exciting. It's a lot of work. I'm sure you've had that experience, and there's so much to learn. But one thing we found, that people who've been successful in franchising, there's something about them that they just like. It's in their DNA to want to be a mentor, to want to help others who are going through these processes of starting your system. I was just in Punta Cana in December, and I won't say his name, but I was just chatting with the gentleman next to me. And he ends up that he runs this huge franchise system. It's now a publicly traded company. And he was just ready. He's putting his phone number in my cell phone. And he's like, call me if you want, to talk. And there's others also who are just like really willing to teach and educate and give advice. And I think that's so amazing. I don't know what it is, and you're probably the same way. Well, you give this whole podcast, so obviously you are.
Why, thank you. But yeah, I agree. It is very strange on how open and transparent and giving the franchise industry is. I've never seen anything like it. When I was in the sports business in Long Island, it couldn't have been any more of a cutthroat, closed loop, like stay out, we don't want you, there's no business here. It was the exact opposite of franchising, but it is very giving. And I've even seen competitors that are so open in sharing information. One of the things about franchising that I tried to teach is that there are so many recognizable patterns. I don't care what product or service you sell. Every franchise system deals with a lot of the same problems and same challenges at different stages. And it's just a matter of recognizing those things and helping you kind of navigate. And that's where so many mentors are helpful, because they've been there before. They know what happens, what life looks like when you have 4 franchise locations. I know exactly what happens to your business when there's 15 franchises and when there's 50. You're going to look radically different. There's things, it's like looking around the corner and knowing what's going to pop up next.
Right.
Now, going back to what Greg was saying, I guess early on when he was like, I don't know about franchising, the big shift for GreedLight Mobility, and, maybe Greg, he knew this, but he maybe didn't articulate it early on, was that once you start franchising, you're no longer in the mobility business, you are in the franchise business. You literally have one job, and that is to help make your franchisees successful, and then know to bridge the gap where you come in, where you want to impact more people. That's the beauty of franchising. You get to take the beautiful business you created, you get to help other people be successful doing it, and you get to impact maybe thousands and thousands of patients, potentially nationwide. They're going to get their life back.
Yeah, that's the exciting part. And as you said, it's exciting to also, take these franchisees who dream of having their own business and
Right.
also, seeing them grow. Our Charlotte office has done spectacularly. They're only 3 years old and they've knocked it out of the park. And it's just so amazing to have seen someone who, you get nervous at first, like, oh my God, this person quit their job. They're using their life spending. In that situation, they got married, bought their first house, and bought the franchise all within a month of each other. And they've just done such a good job. We trained them. They followed the guidebook. They add their own things to the whole program and campaigns, but they've just done tremendously. And it's also scary. I have other franchisees who are just starting out.
Sure.
Again, like, it's a little scary, these great people who, again, are investing their finances and investing their time and energy into building their own business. And it's just so nice to be able to be part of that and to help them. We had a dream and we started it from scratch, and now we're able to just hand it over to them, which is, and the ramp up is so much less time because it's all handed to them and they can just, get off the ground running, so it's really nice.
That's awesome. Well, you guys have the makings of great co-founders because, number one, you said something that really struck a chord with me, and that was about wanting to help these franchisees to the point where you felt like, I don't want to say obligated, but not obligated, but you feel like you want to make them so successful that you're taking on the responsibility, though it's their own business. You want them to win so bad.
Right. No, definitely.
Which is amazing. And the second thing is you're trying to impact people. You didn't tell me before the podcast, hey, we're looking to open 1,000 locations in 3 years. That's not your thing. You were never about, I want to open as many locations as possible. You're about, how can I impact and give people back their life?
Right.
Which is the right way of thinking about the business.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And we want to grow, obviously, but we want to grow in a healthy, responsible manner. We want to be able to support our franchisees like they need to be supported. And right now with 4 franchisees, we can handle that. But obviously we are in the talks of bringing in more resources, bringing in more manpower, and that's where those mentors have really helped, and advisors, because when you're not in the franchise world, you don't know all these resources exist. And also to things like I went to Springboard and I just signed up for IF. And there's just so much to learn. And it's exciting. It's exciting to learn, to learn new things and figure out how to make this the best system possible.
Karen, one of the questions I get from people often that are looking to franchise their business is like, where do I even find franchisees? Where did you find your first 4? They're all over Raleigh, Charlotte, the Philly area, Milwaukee. So who are these people? Where did you find them?
They were referrals. Of course. Yeah. So that's how those worked out. But as we move forward, we are going to, whether it's in-house or with the FSO, we are going to take on more of that franchise development, adds to the franchise development, because that was one of our weaker parts these last couple years, and that's what we need to start doing. So we realized.
Well, if there was going to be a weak part of your business, I'm glad it was franchise development. Because you've built a strong foundation. And that's what's most important. There's nothing worse than a franchisor that says, oh, we got franchise development licked. We know how to sell franchises. That's our strength. That is horrible. Yeah. That is a house built, with matchsticks. That's going to collapse. So good for you. I'm glad that was the crack in the armor there. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.